Hello and welcome back to the Morning Jackpot, presented by SoBet.io. I am your host, Jack Cody, and as you can read on my shirt, it might be inverted, it might be not mirrored in this moment, but it says, it's all about banner 18, baby. Which is what, if you were to ask Jason Tatum, how is he doing? How are those shooting struggles doing? He would just give you an answer like that. He would just say, it's all about banner 18. Nothing else matters. It's about getting wins and doing the plays, making the plays that result in wins, that result in big buckets, that result in your shooters getting hot. Tatum is one of the few basketball players in my lifetime and frankly in the history of the game that simply knows how to make players around him better. And it's not that something he does. It's not the way he passes the ball. It's not the way he shoots. It's his presence. Jason Tatum's presence on the court is a bigger presence than any superstar in the league right now in terms of his impact, in terms of how many guys it takes to guard a guy like Jason Tatum, right? And then on top of that, you're looking at Jason Tatum struggling. But okay, I understand. Shooting the ball, not great. That's fine. We're up 2-0. Chat, I appreciate everybody for tuning in today. But my goodness, the first chat is, bro, his passing was so good last night. And that's the thing we're going to highlight a lot today is his playmaking ability. Jason Tatum's playmaking ability when he's not shooting the ball well. I always talk about, Anthony Edwards, he was phenomenal this playoffs, but there were moments where Anthony Edwards was down. There were moments where Anthony Edwards didn't have a good night, right? Anthony Edwards took us by surprise in those first two series. And then all of a sudden, reality started to catch up to Anthony Edwards and he started to have not great games. The legs caught up to him. He got a little tired in the Western Conference Finals. They go down 3-0. I felt like you always have to look at a player and say, all right, how are they when they're at their best? How are they when they're at their worst? You got to analyze the whole thing. When Jason Tatum is not playing well and not playing well, he's not shooting the ball well. When Tatum's not shooting the basketball well, how does he play? And to me, he still impacts the game positively. And that is something that very few players in the game of basketball can do and can be. Jason Tatum impacts the game in a positive route, in a positive rate at all times. I don't care how bad he's shooting. Sure, sometimes he clanks it off the backboard and you're like, oh my God, Jason, what the hell was that? We're all fans. We all appreciate, when a guy makes a jump shot, but it's okay. It's not the whole story. And it might be the story I'm talking about right now. Nick, this is a question that we get into later in the show today. Who do you think will win finals MVP? We're going to give you guys basically a breakdown of a ladder. So who I think is the front runner, who I think could get second, third, who's in the mix right now? I see a comment right now. It says, man, they are shutting down Kyrie. And that is a beautiful statement. The most proud I am of the Celtics, the reason why I'm the most proud of them right now in this moment is because of how they've played defense against Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. We all remember the week leading up to this NBA Finals. What was everybody saying? Luka and Kyrie are the better duo, and you can't overcome that. And all we've done is game planned to attack them when we're on offense and they're on defense. Everyone just attacks them. Tatum is always making these big crossover dribbles when Luka's on him. Put pressure, make Luka guard you. He was questionable coming into the game, and that's exactly what we did. So sure, Luka goes for 32, but I've seen Luka go for 40. I've seen Luka go for 50. I've seen Luka Doncic go for 72. So if you're going to sit here and overreact and say, oh my God, Luka goes for 32, he can't get any help. I actually think, Dallas, you're cooked. Because we created a game plan where we're going to let Luka go for 30. We're going to let Kyrie go for 20, whatever the hell it is. You're not making a bunch of shots in Boston. The luck is not on your side, Kyrie. But with that being said, Luka, you can do whatever the hell you want. Kyrie, do whatever the hell you want. Nobody else on the Mavericks is going to be able to do anything. They haven't. They're not going to be able to switch it. Maybe in game 3 and game 4, you get back to Dallas. Usually that's when role players step up. When the role players are at home, they play a lot better. But to me, I see no reason why we can't at least steal one game in Dallas, get this thing back to Boston, and have a chance to close it out and win the 2024 NBA Finals in Game 5. It's a beautiful thing. It's an absolutely beautiful thing, and I'm very excited for the rest of this series. But my goodness, last night was a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody for coming into the chat, leaving some vibes, leaving some chats. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on the notifications. We are live all week at 9 a.m. Eastern time, recapping the NBA Finals, previewing the NBA Finals. It's going to be an electric week of the Morning Jackpot, so make sure you subscribe. All right, let's see what we got here. Jack, should I get a D White or Holiday jersey? That's a great question. I personally would go with the Derek White jersey just because Drew Holiday decided to make an interesting statement the other day and rubbed me the wrong way. But, man, give it up for Drew Holiday. His performance last night was magnificent. There's something about Drew Holiday that, like, when Tatum and Brown aren't necessarily shooting the ball well, Holiday's going to step up, and you can just rely on that. And same thing with D. White. We have some of the greatest, and by greatest, I truly mean it. If you look back at the game of basketball, you look back at all the role players of the greatest teams, I don't know if you could find a greater role player or a greater two role player, a greater backcourt duo role players of Drew Holiday and Derek White. I don't know if you can. I think they are the greatest role players in the history of basketball. Another great role player, a man who only made one bucket all night, and it might have been the reason why the Celtics won the game. I mean, it was a momentum-swinging three-point shot that Peyton Pritchard hit from half court. It's his bread and butter. Just give him the ball when there's 5 seconds left, and he's going to make magic happen. You got a Duke Tatum jersey. That's fire. Does anybody think in the chat, do you guys think that Tatum is struggling right now? Because if you do, fine. If you think he's shooting the ball poorly, I agree. Can't shoot like that. But he's so poised. He's still making an impact. He's still putting up 10 plus assists. He looked like LeBron last night. Jason Tatum literally looked like LeBron last night. And everyone's going to come on air today and they're going to shit on him and say that he's the third or fourth best player on the team. He's not shooting the ball well. He always chokes in the finals. These are going to be all the narratives and bullshit claims. I'm here to set the record straight on the Morning Jackpot. Listen to ESPN all you want this morning. I'm shooting it straight for y'all. Just because Jason Tatum doesn't shoot the ball well does not define the Celtics. And that's the reason why Jason Tatum is so great. It's the greatness of Tatum and Brown that has built this team to get them to a luxury point of having a guy like Drew Holiday, of having a guy like Derek White, that just have all the confidence in the world. And you know what we haven't talked about yet? Well, let's get right into it. Kristaps Porzingis. Fellas, I love Kristaps. His impact. Talk about impact all episodes so far. Kristaps Porzingis' impact in game 1, I mean, he looked like Larry Bird. Game 2, continue to hit shots. But now we sit here after being up 2-0. We're going to have to do this without Kristaps. It's very sad. It hurts, frankly. But at the end of the day, this team got here without Kristaps. They got him back in game 1. It was an electric response. And sometimes, it's going to be hard to move on without Kristaps. Can we win the series without Kristaps? I don't know. Sorry, we can win the series. Can we win game 3 and game 4 without Kristaps? I don't know. I'm going to send this link. I'm going to get Nathan on here. Give me just a sec. And we'll get back to talking about Kristaps Porzingis. But yeah, Kristaps is out. I do believe that Kristaps is not going to return. It's a big loss for us, but there is a reason why we got to the NBA Finals after Kristaps was hurt. This team can do it. I promise you that. We have enough guys to do it. We're up 2-0, and the team that we have built is capable of losing a guy like Kristaps and still winning the title. That's called great GMing. That's called a great front office. That's not a negative. Nobody needs to make it a negative when one of our players goes down and it's like, oh, well, we don't have Kristaps. Do you think they should rest KP game 3 and return game? I don't know if he can even get back for game 4. Watching that injury, you see a guy that is that tall that has just come back from an injury. At a certain point, you got to look at Kristaps' future. At a certain point, you got to say, all right, is it even worth it? Is it even worth it for Kristaps Porzingis to be out on the court? It is. He wants to be out there. I know he will. But he didn't look healthy. He couldn't run. He gets injured. He couldn't jump. He couldn't run. He's going to become a liability on the defensive end if you keep him in there. I think you got to win this series without Kristaps. I appreciate everybody for tuning in on this Monday morning. We have quite a lot of viewership. I appreciate it, man. This is awesome. If you guys are new here, make sure you sign up for SoBet. This show is sponsored by SoBet.io. Website, app for all your sports betting needs. If you guys want to win sports betting, gotta hop on SoBet. It's not a place where you're gonna go and place a bet. It's a place where you're signing up for SoBet to get people's picks and predictions, and they are experts. So go sign up for SoBet using code Jackpot. Right down below, you can see code Jackpot. And I appreciate it. That's a way to support the show. But my goodness, fellas, the status of Kristaps Porzingis is in jeopardy. His impact in game 1 was so awesome. It was so beautiful to see. I haven't been able to talk about game 1, so I just, it's important we bring that up. But hey, shout out Ethan in the chat. We got Nathan joining us in a second. But Finals MVP is a toss-up for me. I think it's between Jason Tatum right now. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Jrue Holiday. Would I give it if the series ended right now? That's not even a good question because it didn't end right now. It's not going to end right now. It's 2-0. No series ends after 2-0. Who the hell's one to say a series is over after 2-0? Like, sure, I'm confident right now, but that doesn't mean the series is over. This is a team in Dallas that got to the NBA Finals for a reason. But it seems like the Celtics are just really, really good and that much better, which is why the title of this episode is Boycotting the NBA Finals, because it's just hard to watch. We're just that good. We're just that much better than Dallas. Did y'all think that foul last night towards the end made an impact? Because I did not. I think a lot of people are going to bring up the referees. I think a lot of people are going to bring up the fact that who was it? Washington on the breakaway, and then Brown and D. White kind of both blocked him. Looked like there was a little push in the back. Looked like there was a little hand on the. Looked like it was a little hand to hand. I'm gonna be very honest with y'all. It reminded me when I was watching with my boys. I told them, like, that play we got hosed on back when Tatum was a rookie and we were in game 7 against LeBron. There was a breakaway where Terry Rozier tried to dunk the basketball and LeBron came out of nowhere and blocked it. But if you look back at the block, there is so much contact on the hand that it was like it could have gone either way. You could have called the foul, but it was damn near a clean block. Why? Because there's this rule where if you touch the hand, it's like a part of the basketball. So you can't call it a foul. So I waved it. I waved that one off. It was a clean block. But if you want to say it was a foul and you want to say that, Dallas should have only been down by 3 there with a chance to tie it up or at least make Boston try and score when they're up 3. I mean, the amount of missed calls in the game, the amount of times where the referee said, nope, we're not going to blow the whistle here. There were a lot of moments where I felt like the NBA in many ways has changed the way it's refereeing. And I think it was since the All-Star break, seeing the amount of no defense at the All-Star game and now getting to a point where why not just don't blow the whistle? Let them play. I think that's what makes basketball better. Physicality. It was a basketball play. It was a hustle play. And I saw, Jaylen Brown and D. White make a play that NBA Finals great teams, great players make. That's the nature of it. Nathan will be jumping on here in just a sec. Let's see. Hop on. I do believe that Kristaps was a big impact in terms of becoming an Finals MVP candidate. I think there was definitely a conversation to be had about could Kristaps kind of be the MVP of this series, but you got to understand there's a difference between an X factor and an MVP. There's a difference between an X factor and the best player. Jason Tatum and his ability to do everything. There's so many things that don't show up on the stat line or even that show up on a stat line that are just misconstrued and misinterpreted. I look at Tatum as the best player on the team that's up 2-0 with two more games left until they're crowned NBA champions. And that is a very big thing. And yet the media is going to hate on him this morning. The media is going to say he's not shooting the ball well. Well, guess what? Steph Curry didn't shoot the ball well in his second NBA Finals. LeBron James didn't shoot the ball well for the first 2 NBA Finals of his career. Kobe Bryant, they didn't give Kobe his flowers until he won one without Shaq. So there's a process here in terms of becoming a legend in the NBA. And I fully think that Jason Tatum will one day become one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He already is one of the best, in my opinion. And he's without the accolades right now. That's all it is. This question is absolutely ridiculous. Do you think that without JT, Boston's still winning? This is the problem. This question, right? How is this a question? Jason Tatum is the definition of an MVP. Say what you want. When he's not shooting the ball well and he's still finding a way to impact at a positive rate, that shows greatness and poise and experience. So imagine when Tatum starts shooting the ball well, because Steph didn't shoot the ball well when they lost that first NBA Finals. Even in the finals where they won it, he had some shooting woes. But experience creates greatness. So imagine what Steph looked like in his 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th finals. Or he's only been to 6. I think Tatum is going to get to a point where he's going to be so good because he's now shown his ability to pass. He's now shown he can be a playmaker. Nobody thought Tatum could be this good of a playmaker. He's showing it right. He looks like LeBron. But imagine if he was shooting the ball well. How good would he be? How dominant would he be right now? I want y'all to think about that. Think about, we saw it a couple of years ago. We saw Tatum go for 46 in a game 6 on the road. We saw Tatum go for 51 in a game 7. We saw it. That's all we need. Just a sliver of it. Has he been a little inconsistent shooting the basketball in 2024? Sure. They're up 2-0. They need to win 2 games to be the NBA champion. Nothing else matters. Not in his mind, not in my mind. The GOAT debate, you just got to win. In game 1, game 2, why are people so set on like, and maybe I'm set on it, is this idea that Tatum's got to explode. Tatum has to go for 40 tonight. When in reality, you should use your role players, your Drew Holidays, your Derek Whites in a game 1, Kristaps in a game 1 and a game 2 to carry, to lift your team over to the top. Why? Because role players play better at home. So what is Tatum going to do in game 3? Well, he's going to step up. What is Brown going to do in game 4? He's going to step up because the role players are the home team players. The road players are the superstar players. I got Nathan waving his tongue in the back, and he is on.
I'm ready, bro. Bro, you know what? It's kind of hard for me to make it on this Monday morning and just mornings in general because I had this job, but I needed to today. I needed to.
You had to be here. I need
The
you.
Celtics are 2 away.
Bro, 2 away. Man. Last night, game 2, they get it done. Tatum struggles shooting the ball. His assists exploded. His playmaking was magnificent. You know, it just felt like it was a full team effort. Drew Holiday has 26 points. What's your takeaway, not just from game 2, but the overall first 2 games of this series? You know, kind of just where's your mind at right now as the Celtics are up 2-0?
So, I mean, the Celtics are playing the exact way that they needed to be playing. Like, they are such a well-coached and disciplined team. I want to give my hats off and my props to one man, and that's Joe Mazzulla. Like, not only, obviously, they want to be up 2-0 if it wasn't for the players, but just like not only the adjustments that they made, but their simple pass and kick game. They drive in, kick it out to the corner. There's always someone, for some reason, wide open in the corner, and they just cash in a 3. Or, you know, everybody just plays very, very, very unselfish basketball. Like, nobody is above anybody on the Boston Celtics. And that's what I love about this team so much. This kind of reminds me of like a football team almost. Like, not like everybody gets the shine here and there. Like, there's a different finals MVP every single game. Like, I could say Drew Holiday's finals MVP right now. I could say it's Jaylen Brown, maybe Jason Tatum, maybe Kristaps Porzingis for all I know, man. I mean, it's great basketball is being played right now. And just like how you were saying all season long, Jack, if they sweep, yes, you could put this team in the conversation for one of, if not the greatest modern teams in the NBA. I mean, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. You bring up that point of like playing great basketball. You texted me about, 10 minutes into game 1, and you were like, this is just some of the most high level basketball. It feels like the game plan that Boston is giving to Dallas, in many ways, because Tatum's not really shooting the ball well, Dallas is doing just about everything they can do, and there's nothing they can do ultimately. And that is because I'm looking at all these Kevin Durant teams from the past couple of years and how they're just loaded with superstars, but they never know how to play with each other. And with this Celtics team, the amount of superstar egos on this squad that have just said, you know what? We want a championship and we want to play and win together. That's all they've done. It's such a beautiful thing for the sport, and I don't understand why people view it as a negative. I love that you're coming on here and spreading flowers and saying like anybody could win finals MVP. To me, when you say that, that almost makes me realize like then Tatum's the finals MVP because he's not shooting well, but the way that his impact, he's the definition of I said this before you got on. In many ways, Tatum is the definition of the MVP because of his playmaking ability and how much he draws. Drew said it in his post game. on TV, on air. He probably made most analysts be like, all right, I'm not going to shit on Tatum the entire day today. When Drew Holiday hops on his mic and he says, JT was getting me the ball open. He gets into the paint. There are 4 guys on Jason Tatum, and he makes the right pass. Sure, there are a few shots in that game, and by a few, I mean a decent amount of them, where Tatum clanked it off of the side of the backboard, and I'm just like, all right, Tatum, that was a little bit interesting one. But before you got on here, I talked about Steph, I talked about Kobe, and I talked about LeBron. 3 guys that either have struggled in NBA finals early in their career, or like just it takes these great players a couple of years of experience to truly become their best self. It's not like Tatum's it's not like he's not playing well. He's not his best self. And there's going to come a time where he puts it all together. Am I wrong? There's going to come a time where Tatum's shooting the ball really well, but he's also this LeBron James type playmaker. Is that not
That's
a
right.
scary sight to you?
That's right. That's right. And Tatum needs that time to kind of settle in and sink in. Like you said, all
He
the
has the
all-time
luxury
greats.
of it too, because of how good they are.
Right. Right. So I mean, now it's all about, can you really run away with the Finals MVP? In your opinion, if you think Jason Tatum deserves the Finals MVP, sure, go ahead. But I think he still needs to kind of run away with it.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to do our Finals MVP rankings today, Jason Tatum will probably be in the 3 spot, maybe 2.
I think JB, JT, and Drew are interchangeable. You can't give the Finals MVP out after game 2. That's the thing we got to be careful about.
Yeah.
But you need to understand, all right, after the first 2 games.
The ladder.
Yeah, after the first 2 games, who's kind of been the MVP? To me, it's not clear. To me, it's, well, Tatum's not shooting the ball well. Brown had a really big game 1, but like he was impactful in game 2 and played awesome in game 2, but it's not like he went for 30. He kind of was just Jaylen Brown. And then Drew Holiday stepped up. So it kind of becomes, all right, Drew, JB, but is JT kind of just the MVP? That's what keeps going back and forth in my head. You mentioned Kristaps, though.
Bro, I love Kristaps' usage because for the amount of time that he's been getting the basketball, he's been scoring almost every single time. Like, he's not even one of the primary ball handlers or whatever, but it's like, I feel like literally nobody can guard him on the Mavs.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it does look like he may not be returning for the rest of this series. Do you believe, up 2-0, that the Celtics will be okay if Kristaps does not play for the remainder of the series?
Hold on. Before I answer that question, did you see Kristaps' quote after game 2?
What did he say?
He said, "I will die out there if I have to." Bro, he's coming back. He said, "I will send it to you right now." He said, "I will die out there if I have to." He's coming back, bro.
Bro, I get that. But I saw it. I saw the way he was limping up and down the court. He's going to be a liability if he is looking like that. I don't know. But with that being said, I'm going to bring my guy Ryan on here to join the squad of the Morning Jackpot to talk about Kristaps Porzingis' status currently. Ryan,
how we doing, fellas?
Ryan, it's amazing to see you, bro. I cannot wait for you to just shit on Jason Tatum for the next 30 minutes. It's going to be an awesome panel. But with that being said,
how do you know that? How can you make that judgment before I even got here?
There are a couple of texts that I've received from you in the past history of life that have made me think that you might come on here after a game 2 struggling shooting performance from Jason Tatum and make sure that is the headline of the day.
So I had a feeling you thought I was going to come with this negativity out of nowhere. It's a Monday morning. I'm trying to bring positivity. We got a long week ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We did this thing on a show that may or may not exist anymore called Hard in the Paint, RIP, where you said like nice things about Nikola Jokic, who you may or may not hate. Mm-hmm. So I wrote 3 nice things about Jason Tatum.
Wow, isn't that just magnificent? Let me hear him.
Okay. Number 1, he wears a single-digit number on the Celtics, which is very hard because many are retired. Pretty impressive. Number 2, he looks like he should be elite. Just like looking at him. You look at Luka, who is elite. You look at Jokic, who is elite. James Harden even had some years. Like, James Harden isn't a guy that I would look at and say, like, that guy should be one of the best players in basketball. Jason Tatum is one of those guys I look at and I'm like, I see it all. Even his shot, like, very pretty shot.
Very pretty.
And then the third thing, maybe most importantly, he shoots a very reboundable basketball. You watch last night, though, there was like 5 offensive rebounds off of his shots. Pretty remarkable stuff.
A very reboundable shot. I'm gonna start like complimenting my boys. Like, bro, you know what? You shoot a very reboundable shot, man.
That's a crazy line, bro.
It is. You look, the amount of offensive rebounds that they got off of Jason Tatum's shots. I don't know if that's something that they give out MVP based on, finals MVP, but like if they did, I would say Jason Tatum deserves finals MVP.
Because of his ability to miss shots.
But he gets the other guys, like, it's almost like a reverse confidence thing. It looks like the other guys know where he's going to miss. They're like, oh, Jason Tatum's shooting the ball. I got to get in position to rebound this basketball.
I would call that award the 2 for $1 award.
I like that.
Ryan,
I would love to hear Adam Silver say that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
2 for $1.
I mean, there have definitely been moments where Jason Tatum is not shooting the ball to the highest of clips, or at least getting his players involved. You mentioned a little bit of a reverse confidence. I like to say that throughout these playoffs and throughout this entire season, Tatum has made a conscious effort to get his players involved, to play make, and to instill confidence into his players. What do you have to say about something like that?
I agree with the rebounding. Like he's shooting balls. And
what about the passing? What about the fact that he was 10? How many assists did he have last night? 10? 11?
Right, yeah, I mean,
juice it too much.
So this is my thing with Jason Tatum. And maybe it's like a media thing that like you either have to, and I feel like we're seeing it with Caitlin Clark too. You either have to like think someone's the best in the world or the worst. I don't think Jason Tatum is like bad. I think we're seeing that. It's just when people want to put him in the elite tier of things.
I'm going to do that though. So,
well, then that's where we disagree.
Why? Why is Jason Tatum not a superstar in your eyes?
You're talking about the playmaking, and it's the same thing that I had with my own guy and Tyrese Halliburton at times. I don't care. It's the playoffs. If it's your team, you need to put up 20 points a game.
No, you don't. Tatum does not need to put up 20 points.
But then it's not his team. It's a great team.
It's not. He built it. Tatum and Brown built it.
I don't think he built it.
The success of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown over the last 5 years has led to this moment, has allowed for this moment.
Yeah, Tatum and Brown, both of them.
Yeah.
Sure, yes, I bring them. I'm the first person that was like, why the hell is Jaylen Brown not on Team USA? When they were trying to decide who's that 12th spot going to go to, I'm like, are you kidding me? Jaylen Brown is not going to be on this team. He does everything on both ends of the floor. So if anybody is pro Jaylen Brown, it's fucking me.
I mean, it's crazy that Jaylen Brown would not get in over Jason Tatum. But, yeah, I mean, are they the two best players on the team? Probably. Like, you see KP do what he did in game one. You see what he can do when he's healthy. I think you could argue that he's top 2 player on this team. But that's another thing. I don't think like just playmaking is good enough. I didn't think it with Tyrese Halliburton in the playoffs. I don't think it with Jason Tatum, because you're seeing a guy on the other side on the other team who's doing it all. And I know that Jason Tatum doesn't have to, but I'm not sure that he can in a big moment like this because we haven't seen it.
We got a comment right here saying, I legit owe Brad Stevens my soul for how he built this team. And that is something that we definitely should shine a light on, because what Brad has been able to do, it takes a special person to have a role as the head coach and be like, you know what? This is not my role. I feel like I can do something better. I don't know how all of that really transpired, but from my understanding, it got to the point where Brad felt like he could do something a little bit better. And my goodness, Joe Mazzulla, Nathan, you bring it up right away as you get onto this show, giving him flowers. Ryan, do you believe that Joe Mazzulla has kind of proved his credibility in many ways during these NBA finals?
His credibility to what would be my question?
Being a very smart, he has the ability to game
Not being
plan.
a fraud. Not being
Yeah, a lot of people say that he can't really coach, and I'm sitting here thinking this has been one of the better 2 games in terms of a game plan, in terms of executing the game plan. I felt like before the first 2 games, I knew exactly what Boston needed to do in order to beat Dallas. It was Tatum goes for 50, but on top of that, it's all the other little things. It's all the attack Luka, attack Kyrie. They make them guard. Luka was questionable coming into game 2. I don't care how many points he goes for. We've shut everybody else down. It's been a beautiful game plan. I think Joe Mazzulla has executed it perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, they've locked down Kyrie. Kyrie has been a non-factor, and not only a non-factor, but maybe a negative. And considering like how well, not only him, but like all of their role players are playing, I mean, that's kind of the thing. They're like letting Luka I don't know that they're letting Luka do whatever he wants on the offensive side of the court, but you can't really stop it. He's that good of a player, but you can stop all these other guys. And I feel like they're doing a pretty good job of it. I think it's a mix of like them doing a pretty good job of it and these guys just not hitting shots. But then on the offensive end, I think that they're playing very well. And Dallas's defense looks terrible. Like they're just driving past everybody. Nobody can stop anybody on a drive, and that's just leading to open threes on the outside.
Well,
they got to collapse.
So you just explained what Jason Tatum's doing right now.
Yeah,
he's
just
driving.
Also be efficient on the offensive end with your shots. I
agree. Hey,
might be nice.
I can't wait I saw it. 46 points in a game 6. 51 points in a game 7. That's all I needed to see to say, you know what, this man is going to be the greatest basketball player of all time. And to anybody that is just simply hating on Jason Tatum, you're probably just salty because he can't hit his over and you're losing a lot of money on him. And that's fine. I'll lose as much money on Jason Tatum as I want, and I'll still go down as a soldier. Like, he is a beautiful thing.
Jason Tatum averages. Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
I've one question. Jack, do you really believe that after the way that Jason Tatum has been playing so far, let's say Celtics win the finals.
Yeah.
Do you still think that he becomes the face of the league? Like the way he's playing right now?
Yes. I already gave this argument before either of y'all got on the show, but I'll just, for the sake of the argument and the question that you just delivered, I'll bring it again. Stephen Curry, first 2 finals, did not play great. First finals, didn't win finals MVP. I thought he was fantastic in that first finals, but most people say he was not himself, didn't shoot the ball to his standard. So those first 2 finals, question marks. He got better over time. That last finals we saw Steph in was his very best finals. LeBron James, his first 2 finals, how'd he do? Well, he lost both of them. He couldn't shoot the rock. He struggled. That's LeBron James. Oh, Kobe Bryant never got his flowers until he won a championship without Shaquille O'Neal. Okay, so this whole idea that just because Jason Tatum has not shot the ball well in 2 games of an NBA Finals is going to define his legacy? Absolutely not. They're up 2-0. They're 2 games away from an NBA Finals, and everyone saying anything about him, shut the hell up. Because guess what? If you win a championship and you are the best player on that team, I know everyone's going to say he's not the best player on the team. You're wrong. I know exactly who the best player on the team is. If you don't think he's the best player on the team, you're simply just trying to discredit Jason Tatum. You don't like Jason Tatum. It's what I do with Nikola Jokic. I get it. It's fine. Everything's okay. God.
I obviously like Jason Tatum. I just named 3 nice things about him. Yeah, I don't. I never had anything against Jason Tatum until I really started obviously having to watch the Celtics. Last series was not.
Do you think I play a role into the hate that Jason Tatum gets, or at least like your opinion of Jason Tatum?
I would say that there's an above like 90% chance that that is a factor in it. Yes. Just because it's so annoying to me, like when it has to be like he's the best or he's the worst. That's the thing that gets to me all the time.
No, I agree. Today is a day where I need to stick up for him because I know he's going to get all sorts of shit. And I'm watching that game last night, and it was a close one. He's not shooting well. There are moments where it's just like, damn, did the media get to him? I don't think he's mentally weak. I think he's mentally really strong. I think his ability to still play throughout that second half and make the right passes, hit that three. I know you're smirking at me a little bit right now. I felt like his experience has shown in these finals with how he's been able to still impact the game in a positive way, even though he's not shooting the ball. Could you credit him? Yeah. Could you credit him for the way he's played, or do you think his shooting struggles defines him?
My thing is like we talk about that Knicks series with Tyrese, and that's the way that I compare it as a Pacers fan. Like we talk about that Knicks series with Tyrese, the games where he just did not he didn't even not shoot bad. He just didn't shoot that much. So he put up like 12 points, like 10 assists, whatever it is. I don't have the stats on me. But in that, like, who was the blame on? And I think you could argue because the Pacers are a worse team. Like, they're not this loaded team with, I would say, like 7 really awesome guys on it.
Tatum Pritchard to be one of them.
You can name whoever you want. I would say that is a little bit more glaring, although I don't know because Tatum has as big of a spotlight as you could have on you because you play for the Boston Celtics and there's all these expectations. So do I think the expectations of Tatum are a little unfair? Yes. But when you say that he's the best player, then I do not think that they are unfair.
I don't think his expectations are unfair. I think his criticism is unfair. And I think we've all seen so many different careers unfold. And for us to just be so quick to be like, he's the third best player on the team, or, he sucks. Like, there are so many things he's doing on the court that people are ignoring. And I just hope one day people realize the greatness of Jason Tatum. And maybe it's going to be him having to prove that in a game 4 and going for 40. Maybe it's got to be that, right?
So if he doesn't win the finals MVP, this was the question that I asked you over text.
Yes.
If he does not win the finals MVP, is that how does the title change for you?
I am scared about the media making sure he doesn't win finals MVP, especially in a moment like this where he's had the first 2 games of less than 20 points. It's very possible that he doesn't win a finals MVP. But at the same time, I have full faith in him winning finals MVP. But if he doesn't win it all, if he doesn't win that finals MVP, they give it to a guy like JB or Drew.
Peyton
Pritchard. Derek White. Sam Hauser coming off the bench, 0 for 7 from 3. It's pretty electric performance.
Who knows? They might give it to Luka.
They probably will.
Maybe.
If they give it to Luka, I would literally lose my mind. I would literally be like, bro, are y'all just handing out second place trophies at this point? Like, what is the point of a finals MVP? It doesn't affect his legacy at all, by the way.
Technically, you could argue that he is the most valuable player in the series because you look at them play and you're like, this team would not, I don't know that they would be in the play-in without him.
Yes, but you have to just judge every team based off of who they have. And I think that this Dallas team got to the NBA Finals for a reason. They beat Minnesota for a reason, and Minnesota beat Denver for a reason.
I think a big reason of that is Luka Doncic, isn't it?
Yes, but there's also other guys on the team that the Celtics have literally shut down completely.
I would have loved to
Nobody
see
else can make
Boston
it.
versus Denver, though.
Yeah, we'll get that next year probably. Or,
I hope.
Or we get like Lakers / Warriors, wherever LeBron's at. Feel like it's going to be like a Steph or LeBron last dance type of season. Dan Hurley, Laker. I actually have inside source information about this.
Ooh.
So I texted this kid who played at St. Mary's last year, transferred to UConn this year. He just transferred to UConn. I texted him yesterday. I was like, yo, he swiped up on my story about something. I texted him. I'm like, you trying to come on the pod? He was like, man, I'd love to. But unfortunately, things got a little crazy. Things are a little crazy right now. As a matter of fact, they're heating up even more. Basically, he admitted, in a low-key way, Dan Hurley to the Lakers is confirmed. Just inside source, breaking news here on the Morning Jackpot. What do we think about that? Because to me, you can look at it many different ways. My first reaction of it was LeBron's not staying. Dan Hurley doesn't go to the Lakers to coach LeBron James. Dan Hurley goes to the Lakers. The Lakers hired Dan Hurley because they want to restart everything and they want to create essentially a new identity led by Dan Hurley. Do you build around AD? Do you trade both LeBron and AD? LeBron can leave because he's an unrestricted free agent or whatever the hell it is. In my opinion, LeBron goes to the Warriors. AD, you probably build around him, but you make you change the culture in LA, and it's Dan Hurley's culture.
Yeah,
you want to go first?
I can. I had the same exact reaction as far as like I think that's everybody's immediate thing is like Dan Hurley seems like a culture builder of a coach, and it's obviously worked very well.
Yep, he's a winner.
And like, do you want to have that like in-house kind of rebuild with like an aging LeBron? And even with an aging AD, it feels a little weird, but I don't think they're going to get rid of both of them in the same offseason.
That'd be crazy.
I have no idea where LeBron's going to go. Like, I would love to see, as I'm also a Steph fanboy, that's one thing that me and you, Jack, can get along on. So I would love to see that just from
because we're at the point as Steph Curry fans where we just want to see him like happy and like playing his best basketball. And a lot of times when he's on this Warriors team and he's got all of the burden and all of the load, it's like, then you look at a team like the Celtics and Tatum gets to take a back seat. You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't Stephen Curry have a Giannis or a LeBron or a KD in these later years? I feel like it's more than a respectable thing for him to have a guy like that, and it'll bring out the best in Golden State, and it'll bring out the best in Steph Curry, give him the best chance to win that 5th championship.
Yeah,
right?
To just go out like with a chance. It's just tough, like seeing him now and being like, oh, they have no shot at ever doing anything. So it's like, why? Like, you feel bad to say it, but like, why is Steph still playing if he literally just doesn't have a shot at like winning anything? So like, you want to see him take one last swing at things. And I think that obviously LeBron gives anybody a shot. So that would be cool. I don't know how realistic it is, but that's obviously where I would like to go, or like to see him go as well.
Nate, do you kind of have an opinion on like whether the Lakers should have, I mean, since I already got the inside source information, it's a done deal, Dan Hurley to the Lakers.
I don't think so.
Do you think they made the right decision by going with Dan Hurley, or do you believe that it should have been a JJ Redick decision? I heard Stephen A trying to make the Darvin Ham should still be the coach. Like, what the hell? That's top 5 worst takes of all time. And
a wild turnout to this whole side.
Darvin Ham should focus on the little tumor on his head instead of focusing on coaching the Lakers. To be honest, no, I think it should be JJ Redick, only for the fact that I know LeBron and his family, they love LA, and he also has a huge role in just like the overall decision. Like, people love calling him lead GM. I think he is literally the second GM. And like, I was walking into the gym the other day and I saw a headline saying, what would this mean for LeBron and the Lakers? Because it's like no other player in NBA history gets treated like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just focusing you, bro. You get the spotlight right now.
Oh shit! All right, yeah. So I was really confused.
Bro, just everyone left the panel.
I think it should be JJ Redick, but yeah, that's my take.
All right, you're done.
Thank you.
The lights came on. That was a tough one.
I was like, what the fuck happened, bro?
Bro said, "Oh hell no, I ain't getting a spotlight." Nah,
It was a Rudy Gobert press conference moment.
Literally. I do believe JJ probably would have been a really good X's and O's coach, but I'm a anti-UConn guy from Connecticut. I absolutely hated the fact that for 2 years they dominated at all forces of college basketball. But with that being said, if I'm the Lakers and I've kind of made this LeBron to Golden State claim, a lot of people are saying that the reason why they're getting Dan Hurley is because Dan Hurley would be a Bronny kind of guy. Do you have any response to that being the reason? Obviously, I don't think that would be the main X factor, main reason why it happens. But is there a world where LeBron is actually fully involved in this Dan Hurley hire?
Fully involved? I don't know. Did Bronny even get like an offer from like UConn when he was coming out? Like that's the thing.
No,
like
Dan Hurley would be a coach that could make Bronny James a Drew Holiday.
I don't know. Like we haven't seen Dan
you
Hurley.
Think LeBron James is involved in this coaching hire, or is he gone?
100%.
I think he's.
We have two different answers here. So now explain yourselves.
Because it's so weird because it's like opposite ends of the spectrum here. It's JJ Redick, like not his best friend, but like a guy he does a podcast with on like the most in-depth like basketball stuff in the world, where you're like, yeah, that seems perfect to try to keep LeBron. And then you get Dan Hurley, this culture builder that's gonna like, you imagine, restart everything and kind of make it his own.
Mm-hmm.
And that signals the end of LeBron. Like, what's the point of having that with an aging guy? So like, I don't know if like the Lakers, I feel like they're trying to get an answer on whether LeBron wants to be back or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's going to kind of like dictate the choices here. I think it's far from like a Dan Hurley, like it's just Dan Hurley situation. I still think like JJ's in it. I feel like they might be waiting to see if LeBron wants to come back or not, because obviously if LeBron's in, you do everything you can to win a title.
Yeah, and I mean, Dan Hurley, LeBron James, that would be a cool storyline, cool thing to watch, definitely interesting. But to me, I think LeBron's at a point in his career where he wants to go play with Steph. And I don't think a lot of people are going to love that. I think a lot of people are going to be like, MJ would never. And it's like, bro, be thankful. The amount of greatness in the game of basketball right now, let whatever you want to let happen. And let's see LeBron and Steph become the best duo in the NBA at the ages that they're at. I think that would be a beautiful thing.
I think that's like your wet dream, your basketball wet dream, but that's not going to happen, Jack. I'm sorry. Like,
I'm curious, if you couldn't say the Warriors, like what is the next team that you would go to? Suns?
Phoenix.
How do they make that work?
They just make it work. I think like, bro, in today's game,
you should be a GM.
You just got to make it work. Like, bro, in the NFL, people are trading Stephon Diggs for a bag of chips. I mean, like, anything is possible. Drew Holiday went to the Celtics for Robert Williams. Like, anything is possible if you really want the guy. You just got to make it happen. A lot of times when you make trades like that, it doesn't necessarily affect your team in a positive way, which is why people don't do it all the time. But it's available if you want to go. If you want to go get LeBron, go get LeBron. Draft Bronny with the first pick.
If that happens, my great grandsons won't see a Phoenix Suns first round pick.
That's true.
Yeah,
I don't think they have one until 2031, if I'm not mistaken.
Neither do the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, both franchises are absolutely cooked. Thanks to Kevin Durant. We got a guy saying, will we go back to back? See, that's a good question, but we haven't won the first yet. And I am from the future, so sure, we've won the first. And we will not go back to back. I I don't know. I think going back to back is a very tough thing. And if I had to bet on it right now,
I thought this
I
was
would
like
say
4 championships in the next 5 years, Jack.
yes, bro. Yes, bro. And it's not next year.
Okay.
I mean, if you want it to be next, let's see what LeBron does. I'm so serious. That changes everything for me. If LeBron is with Steph, that team beats this Boston team.
That's interesting.
I don't know about that.
LeBron,
I don't know either, to be honest.
Steph, Clay.
Well, no, I don't think Clay's
Clay.
coming back.
Don't even say Clay's name anymore.
Steph, Clay, Kuminga, LeBron, and Draymond. That's your starting 5. You got Chris Paul coming off the bench.
Better off saying
Jackson Davis coming off the bench.
You're better off saying Gary Payton than Klay Thompson.
That's the team out of the West next year.
I mean, that's another. They're not going to have either Chris Paul or Klay Thompson. They might have one. They might have one of them, but if they get LeBron, they're not having both.
I understand.
LeBron's good friends with Chris Paul too. So honestly,
LeBron's good friends with a lot of people.
True.
Likeable guy, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So to wrap this thing up, got a couple more questions just to set the stage for Game 3 and the rest of the series. You know, Chris Dapp's not really sure on his status, but assuming he doesn't play Game 3, Ryan, I'll start with you. Do you think Boston can at least win a game in Dallas? Do you think that's kind of their mindset? They're just trying to get this thing back to Boston with a chance to close it out? Or are we looking at a sweep? Or do you think Dallas is going to tie this thing back up and go 2-2?
I think Dallas gets one at least.
Yep.
Especially if Kristaps does not come back, I feel like he's gonna be involved. I don't know how much, but I feel like he's gonna play. I heard Nate say that he would die out there or something like that. Seems a bit aggressive, but I'll believe him at his word. So like I just think they get one. Like Luka's gonna go off. I don't think Luka allows them to get swept, but it's not looking great. No. And if we want to talk the bright side of that, I think that means that the Pacers are the second best team of basketball. So we'll take that.
It's reversed, but I will die out there. Kristaps Porzingis.
Y'all got a chance to compete at the highest of levels against the championship team, and you got beat by the championship team. So you can run with that one.
And should have arguably
could have been up 2-1. Could have been up 2-1, 3-1. I mean, who the hell knows if Jaylen Brown does not make that 3-point shot? I'll be the first person to say, if the Pacers go up 1-0 in that series, I don't want to be in that situation.
Are the Pacers the best team that the Celtics have played in the playoffs?
No. I think the dominance, I think the first 2 games of these NBA finals and how Boston has game planned against Dallas really makes it look like Boston is like superior, or shall I say Dallas is not that good. I think Boston's game plan has truly made Dallas not look good, and that has nothing to do with how good Dallas is. That has everything to do with how good Boston is. That has everything to do with the game plan of Mazzulla, and it has everything to do with the amount of players that we just have. Like, I don't know if we've ever seen a team like this. I think this might be the start of the greatest team of all time. I'm going to start saying it like that, because once you get to that first championship.
You just said they weren't going to go back to back.
I said they're going to win 4 in the next 5 years.
Yeah, but then 2 seconds ago you said,
yeah, you're right. You're right. I
think Jack's watching his words very carefully, only because he's up 2-0 and he doesn't want to eat his words just in case they end up losing this finals.
Motherfucker, if they lose the finals, I would have eaten my words for 3 years. Y'all have clips for life. Y'all could literally, nobody got to go searching for my receipts. God damn. Love Tatum's over on Wednesday night. That's a great bet.
I love his over if it's over like 19.5 points.
Maybe 17. But yeah.
All right. Well, Ryan, before I get you out of here, do you have any final thoughts on who you think will win finals MVP? And then I need a final statement about the legend of Jason Tatum.
Well, I think this might go hand in hand with that, but
perfect.
If the NBA cares at all about giving the finals MVP to the most valuable player to their team and the most valuable performer probably in the series, they would give it to Luka Doncic, win, lose, draw. They won't do that. So I don't know who you would give it to on the Celtics. Maybe Drew Holiday. Like, maybe I would love to see Drew Holiday get it. That would be the one that I wouldn't be that mad about. So that would probably be it. But it's between Drew Holiday, Kristaps, Jaylen Brown, obviously. You mentioned Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser.
Now Horford.
Horford would be lower down the list, but he would definitely be within like the top 10. I don't think there's any other names that I'm forgetting.
Where's Tatum?
I think I named all the names that I can think of off the top of my head.
What happens if Jason Tatum drops 40 points in game 3?
I mean, what happens if my room just explodes right now? I don't think that.
I set myself up for that one. Kondo, I'm sure you'll be back on at some point to shit about Tatum, but I appreciate you for coming on again. And, your wise words of wisdom truly keep me up at night sometimes. And every once in a while, when you hit me with a text, I'm ready for those texts. And I will be ready for another one of those texts if indeed the finals MVP don't go to Tatum, or if he shits the bed another time. Listen, man, just appreciate the greatness in the moment. That's all I try and tell anybody about Jason Tatum. It's a process. Okay.
I appreciate the fact that my words keep you up, and I kind of like a Jason Kidd in a way. Some people have called me that, the modern day Jason Kidd, just kind of building narratives that get the other team thinking. I think that might be a slow burn in this series that we got to watch out for as well.
Dude, the Drew Holiday comment is a little crazy. It's a little like, what are you doing, Drew? The fact that then Tatum follows it up with 11 assists, 12 assists, or whatever it was. And I think the reason why Drew was so effective last night was because of Tatum and his ability to find Drew all night and get him open looks. But, I'm not going to take away from what Drew's done. He has literally locked up Kyrie Irving, hasn't allowed Kyrie to be looking like Kyrie. And on the offensive end, if Tatum ain't shooting well, if Brown not shooting well, Drew is stepping up.
Yeah. And like what you said with Tatum, passing the ball well, most reboundable basketball in the NBA today, maybe in NBA history. I mean, he's contributing, but it's definitely lower on the list as far as MVP goes.
I understand. Well, appreciate you for coming on.
Yes, sure, appreciate you guys.
Have a great day, Kondo.
You guys as well.
Peace.
Peace.
Nate, before we get out of here.
Yeah. What?
Greatness is upon us.
Do you want to do it like
I do not. What, you want a 1v1 right now?
Yeah, no. Because you said like before we get out of here, you're like slapping the ball and.
I would cook you right now, like Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Okay.
Like I would. Tatum. Anyways, fellas, I appreciate everybody for tuning in today. We're going to check out SoBet.io right now, the proud sponsor of this show. If y'all want to support this show, please sign up for SoBet using code Jackpot. SoBet.io. It is the best sports betting community on the planet. And we got all sorts of locks on here. So if you want to get all the locks every single day from the best sports betting handicappers, sports betting pros in the world, then hop on SoBet.io for just 33 cents a day. We got guys like Parlay Poppy going crazy every single day. You see a 3.31 unit winning day here from this dude. Rhino Bets going crazy. I mean, life is good when you're on SoBet.io. So make sure you go sign up for SoBet using code Jackpot to get all of the sports bets. They're going to get you right for these NBA finals, for the entire summer of baseball.
I hope so, man.
So
all I've been doing was losing money. Yeah, I know you're promoting SoBet, but I mean, mind you, fellas, I've also been a very unintelligent sports bettor as of recently, but I've only been losing money. So bet responsibly.
Bet responsibly, and I think it's very important that when you need to use SoBet as like a guide. Like, it's tough. Bankroll management is the most important thing. And when you're on SoBet, when you hop on SoBet, it's very hard not to look at everybody's picks and take everything. You just have to find your guys. Once you find your guys and once you ride with those guys, great things happen on SoBet.io. But the morning jackpot has been quite the joy. Make sure you tap the like. Please leave a like. I got a bunch of people watching right now, so leave that like. Subscribe to SoBet. Turn the notifications on. And fellas, we're gonna be covering the NBA Finals for real this week. It's gonna be a good time. Leave in the chat below who y'all think is gonna be the Finals MVP. Is it Drew Holiday? Is it Jason Tatum? Is it Jaylen Brown? Is it Sam Hauser? Is it Luka Doncic? Nate, any final words before I piss my pants?
No, go ahead and pee your pants or pee where you got to pee.